What if Noah wasn't chosen? What if the flood story existed thousands of years before the Bible was even written? And what if the ark was never, ever meant to be found? Tonight, we're not just telling a story. We're uncovering a truth that's been buried under ancient tablets, forbidden texts, and a history that makes a lot of people very uncomfortable. Let's start with the story everyone knows, the one from the book of Genesis. The world had become wicked, so God decided to hit the reset button. He chose one righteous man, Noah, and instructed him to build a colossal ark. He was to gather his family and two of every kind of animal, male and female. Then the floodgates of heaven opened, the springs of the great deep burst forth, and water covered the entire earth, erasing everything. One man, one ark, one global flood that wiped the slate clean. For centuries, this has been presented as a unique, divine event, a cornerstone of faith for billions. It's a powerful story of judgment, survival, and a new beginning. But here's the problem, the giant, history-shattering problem. Civilizations that never met Moses, that never read a single word of Genesis, and had never even heard the name Yahweh, told the exact same story. How is that possible? Were they all just making it up? Or were they all remembering something that actually happened? This is where the official narrative begins to crack, and a much older, much stranger story begins to surface. The real bombshell dropped in the 19th century. In the dusty ruins of ancient Mesopotamia, what is now modern-day Iraq, archaeologists made a discovery that would shake the foundations of history. They unearthed tens of thousands of clay tablets covered in a script called cuneiform. When they were finally deciphered, these tablets, some thousands of years older than the oldest parts of the Bible, told a story that was shockingly familiar. First, there was the Epic of Gilgamesh. In this ancient poem, the hero Gilgamesh seeks immortality and meets a man named Utnapishtim. Utnapishtim tells him the story of how the gods decided to destroy humanity with a great flood. But one god, Ea, secretly warned Utnapishtim, instructing him to build a giant boat, seal it with pitch, and save his family, his craftsmen, and the seed of all living things. After the storm raged for 7 days, the boat came to rest on a mountain, and Utnapishtim released birds to see if the water had receded. Sound familiar? But it gets even older. Another set of tablets, known as the Atrahasis Epic, tells an almost identical story, but it's even more ancient than Gilgamesh. Again, we have gods who are annoyed by the noise of humanity and decide to wipe them out with a flood. Again, one god secretly warns a chosen man, Atrahasis, to build an ark and save the animals. Let's break this down. We have a global flood as divine punishment. We have a chosen man warned by a divine being. We have the construction of a giant boat. We have the saving of animals in pairs or by their seed. And we have the boat landing on a mountain after the flood. All of these key elements, the very pillars of the Noah story, are present in texts written 1,000 years, maybe more, before the biblical account. So you have to ask yourself a very serious question. Did the biblical authors copy these ancient myths? Or was the story of Noah not an invention, but a preservation of a much, much older memory, a memory shared by all of humanity? This shared memory brings us to another huge question. Was the flood actually global? Or was it a more controlled, localized event? Modern science presents a major challenge to the idea of a single flood covering the entire planet, even Mount Everest. There is simply not enough water in the Earth's system to do that, and the geological and fossil records don't show evidence of a single, worldwide catastrophic flood. However, that same science absolutely confirms that massive, civilization-ending regional floods have happened throughout history. Think about the end of the last ice age. As glaciers melted, enormous freshwater lakes, larger than any we have today, sometimes burst their natural dams, unleashing cataclysmic floods that could carve canyons in days and wipe entire regions off the map. One prominent theory points to a massive flood in the Black Sea region around 5600 BC, which would have drowned coastal communities and created a disaster of biblical proportions for the people living there. So what if the story isn't about the whole planet? What if the world simply meant the known world to the people who experienced it? What if the Ark wasn't a miracle boat designed to survive a planet-drowning event, but a highly advanced vessel designed for a specific preservation mission to ride out a regional, but utterly devastating, catastrophe? This reframes the story from a tale of divine magic to a potential record of ancient technology and survival. This leads us to the final, tantalizing piece of the puzzle, the search for the Ark itself. For centuries, explorers, adventurers, and believers have been drawn to one place, Mount Ararat in modern-day Turkey, the traditional resting place of Noah's Ark. The stories are endless. There are eyewitness accounts from local villagers and pilots going back hundreds of years. There have been expeditions that returned with photos of strange, boat-like formations buried under the ice. In the modern era, we have satellite imagery and ground-penetrating radar scans that have identified a massive, man-made object matching the biblical dimensions of the Ark, resting high on the mountain. Wood samples have been retrieved, allegedly dating back thousands of years. But every single time a major discovery seems imminent, something happens. The evidence is dismissed as a natural rock formation. The samples are contaminated or lost. Political turmoil makes the region inaccessible. The story is buried, ridiculed, or just forgotten. Why? Why is there such a strong resistance to confirming the existence of this object? Perhaps because finding the Ark wouldn't just validate one religious text. It would force us to ask a much more dangerous question. If the story is real, but it's far older than the Bible, then who really controlled this ancient knowledge? Who were the original builders, and what was their real story? This is the forbidden question, the one we're not supposed to ask. If the most famous story of survival in Western history is actually a later version of a much older tale, if Noah wasn't the first hero of the flood but just the most well-remembered, then what else in our accepted history has been edited, rewritten, or intentionally left out? If civilizations across the globe all have a memory of this great cataclysm and the survival of a chosen few, it suggests a shared history, a common ancestor event that predates our established timelines. It opens the door to the possibility of advanced ancient civilizations, forgotten technologies, and a human story far more complex and mysterious than we've ever been told. The question isn't just about a boat on a mountain. It's about who gets to write history, who gets to control the narrative, and what powerful truths are still waiting to be rediscovered. If you believe that history has been edited and that we deserve the real story, this channel exists to expose it. We go beyond the official narrative to find the truth, so subscribe to Beyond the Scroll. Like this video, and share it with someone who isn't afraid to question everything. And let's start the real discussion in the comments right now. Answer this one question: was Noah chosen, or was he simply remembered?